Here's your card.
She looks
Okay.
like her mother. Yep.
No, she's got.
We're ready? Okay,
You know. Yeah.
Yes.
let me call this regular meeting of the city council to order. For the record, it is 6:32 PM. Today is Monday, August 4th, 2025. I don't know what happened to July. And I know. Grandpa.
Starting.
We're ready, yeah. So we have a lineup of a couple of meetings this evening. The first one being public hearings. So before we open the meeting for the public hearing, could we kindly stand and pledge the flag?
United States of America.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Congrats.
I have a wonky wheel. All right, so as I said, the lineup this evening starts with a couple of public hearings. Actually, it's one public hearing. Two public hearings. Let me call the first one to order. The purpose of the public hearing is to solicit citizen input regarding the revisions to Chapter 20, Economic and Community Development Commission, revisions to Chapter 24, Fair Rent Commission, revisions to Chapter 194, Vehicles and Traffic, and the repeal of Chapter 3A, Arts and Culture Commission. Before we open the meeting to the public, could we kindly have the notice read into the record?
Thank you, Mayor. I thought I'd show you how close a person needs to be to the microphone.
Okay.
Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the City of Torrington Board of Councilmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, August 4th, 2025 at 6:30 PM in the City Hall Auditorium, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut, to receive public comment on proposed amendments to the City Code of Ordinances. Proposed changes include revisions to Chapter 20, Economic Development Commission, amendments to Chapter 24, Fair Rent Commission, revisions to Chapter 194, Vehicles and Traffic, and a repeal of Chapter 3A, the Arts and Culture Commission. Full texts of the proposed changes are available online and in the office of the city clerk. Members of the public may join in person or via Zoom. Both in-person and online attendees will have up to 3 minutes to comment. Instructions for participating by phone or online are available on the city website. All interested persons are invited to attend and be heard, dated at Torrington, Connecticut, the 29th day of July, 2025.
Thank you, Carol. All right, so we're going to jump into one public hearing, but it is to cover 4 chapters of the Code of Ordinances. So let me open this up to the public. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address the council with regard to Chapter 20, Economic and Community Development Commission, Chapter 24, Fair Rent Commission, Chapter 194, Vehicles and Traffic, or Chapter 3A, Arts and Culture Commission? And because it is a public hearing, I will call this 3 times. Is there anyone wishing to address the council in this public hearing with regard to Chapter 20, Chapter 24, Chapter 194, or Chapter 3A? And final call for public comment with regard to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 20, Economic and Community Development Commission, Chapter 24, Fair Rent Commission, Chapter 194, Vehicles and Traffic, or Chapter 3A, Arts and Culture. That being the third call, I'm going to call for the close of the public hearing. I'll call for a close of the public hearing. Public hearing is closed. So there being no further business on this agenda, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Councilman Oliver, and I heard Councilwoman Spino. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Let's move into our council agenda. This is for the regular meeting of the City Council and WPCA. And for the record, it is now 6:37 PM. We'll move into item number 1. I do have to do a roll call for each one of these ordinance changes. So item number 1, roll call. I will entertain a motion by the Board of Councilmen to adopt proposed revisions to Chapter 20 of the Code of Ordinances Economic Development Commission. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Councilwoman Ruette. I heard Councilwoman Spino. Any questions or comments before I call that the vote?
I'm not sure William is here, but,
He's online.
oh, he is on. If there are any questions, we did have quite a bit of discussion at our ordinance committee meeting on why it's important to merge these two. And either myself or our economic development director would be available. Otherwise,
You support this?
Yeah,
absolutely
Okay.
support it, yes.
can we just have an overview of why combining this? Can
I'm
you
going
speak
to defer to William if he's on the call, but I think mostly because they want to have both be successful and merged into one. They were having a hard time getting people to serve on the commission, and having them both together, they believe they'll have a better time and a more efficient opportunity to have both of those needs addressed.
And I'll add to
William.
that, and this has been historically over the last 10 years. We usually find that people are willing to step into a commission role or a board member role, but attendance is always the biggest challenge. So quite frequently, what we were finding is due to the lack of quorum, no action could happen, or lack of attendance, there was very little discussion. So the idea of merging these two commissions or these two boards was first discussed about a year ago, and thanks to William Wallach, he actually did close the loop on helping us identify why and what this new construct would look like. So William, you're on.
I agree with all the points. I would only add one additional piece, is that the formulation of the cultural district and the cultural district committee really did supplant a lot of the roles, responsibilities, or duties, responsibilities that the Arts and Culture Commission was charged with. So there's one important thing to note with the cultural district, is that it is tied to a geographic area. The cultural district is, where the Arts and Cultural District, or sorry, the Arts and Cultural Committee was not necessarily tied to that. And so the idea of making the cultural district stronger and more effective at doing their work inside the cultural district, and not have a challenge of trying to stand up a arts and culture committee that did the same objectives, was positive decision making, number one. And then I think the second part is, by taking those remaining elements that are outside the cultural district and putting them under a strong economic development committee or commission, it kind of guarantees a way to keep those duties and responsibilities at the forefront of our city's vitality, but also reinvigorating the collaboration between EDC, between my office and the cultural district. So those are just the additional points I like to add.
Thank you, William. Other questions or comments?
No, thank you very much.
Anything else from the ordinance committee?
No, thank you, Mary.
All right, then I'm going to call this, and again, it is a roll call. So I'll start to my left, Councilman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilman Cavanero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ruette,
Yes.
Councilwoman Spino,
Yes.
and Councilman Iveyne,
Yes,
Councilman Waldron.
Yes.
All right, we have a unanimous vote. Motion passes. Item 2, I will entertain a motion by the Board of Councilmen to adopt proposed revisions to Chapter 24, Fair Rent Commission.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ruette. And Councilwoman Spino.
And again, if you remember, we were by state statute required to do a fair rent commission. We used the statutory language that was, the state had sort of put into the language put into the statute from the state. So the committee, now that it's, the commission, now that it's formed, really worked hard to, make it more legitimate. Is that a good word? But I'm gonna,
More efficient.
efficient, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been looking at this revision for almost a year now. And so we are in agreement from the Ordinance Committee and the Fair Rent Commission that this cleans up the language and represents the commission much better.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Are there questions, comments? And I do want to acknowledge we have the chairman of the Fair Rent Commission here this evening. And I know that trying to establish a new committee based on some state legislation is always really hard. So the fact that this has, already been informative and informing changes to the ordinance is terrific. So thank you for your work. And for Corporation Counsel, I think he's always looking at all these ordinances through the lens of how can they be more efficient, and how can we make it easier for these committees to do their work. So if there are no other questions or comments, I'm going to call this motion again because it's a roll call. I will start to my left with Councilman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilman Cavanero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ruette,
Yes.
Councilwoman Spino,
Yes.
and Councilman Iveyne,
Yes.
Councilman Waldron.
Yes.
Thank you. So that's unanimous, and this motion passes. Moving right into item 3, I'll entertain a motion by the Board of Councilmen to adopt proposed revisions to Chapter 194, Vehicles and Traffic.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ruette,
Second.
and seconded by Councilwoman Spino. And the floor is open.
So again, this was an ordinance that needed to be cleaned up and presented by Chief Baldwin to the Ordinance Committee. There were some language changes. Probably the most changes were in the fee structure, which hadn't really been looked at, and we had determined, I'm going to look at the chief, how many years out there for any changes in this fee, but they did look at other municipalities, and if the chief wants to speak to them.
Good evening. So the ordinance is related to, or the fine structure regarding parking in our city, the various violations was enacted back in 1950. Our traffic clerk worked with Heather from the clerk's office to get kind of a history of these fines and when this all came into effect. So as I stated, back in May 5th, 1950, these traffic violations that affect our city became effective. And it was specifically kind of dealing towards our metered parking. Parking meters back in the 1950s is when we started putting out fines. But at that time, they didn't have any fines. It was just more of a, from what I understand, more of an educational thing for the members of our community. Fines were adopted for the violations somewhere between 1950 and 1994. The first fines for several of the violations was $5. Those violations were too close to the hydrant, wrong side of the street, over 12 inches from the curb, over 10 inches from the curb, double parking on the sidewalk, overtime meter, fire zone, overtime violation, obstructing driveway, and snow emergency. So so anybody that violated those specific parts of the ordinance would receive a $5 fine. Also established was a $10 fine for vehicle on a crosswalk, too near the corner, a restricted place, overnight restriction, or too close to the crosswalk. Those fines were $10. And the only other one was a handicap fine, which was $85. Back in October of 1996, the council or the ordinances apparently took a look at the fine structure related to the parking situation in our town, and no change in the fine structure was was enacted by the council at that time. The only thing that was added during that meeting in October of 1996 was added snow emergency, which was again a $5 fine for anybody that violated this. If there was a snow emergency and they had to remove their vehicles. In 1999, another meeting apparently was held concerning the fee structure related to parking situations within our city, and there was no change in the fine structure in 1999. On May 2nd of 2005, fines increased from the $5 fines increased to $10, and the $10 fines increased to $20, and there was no change to the handicap fine fees. So back in 2005, that was the first time since the fee structure was enacted, that it had increased primarily by $5. On June 3rd in 2019, there was an increase of $5 for all of the fines, and a handicap fine was now enacted at $150 and then $300 for any subsequent violation of anybody parking in a handicap violation. In March of 2023, all fines remained the same, but added additional violations to the city ordinance, which is unattached trailer, restricted oversized vehicle, and restricted oversized vehicle for 2 hours permit, and that was based on complaints that we received from residents within our city. The ordinance committee and the council voted to add those to our violation structure. So the last time that fines were increased for our parking violations was on May 2nd, 2005, which was over 20 years ago. So the fines had not changed except what I indicated was added to the ordinance related to violations. So our fines have remained consistent for the past 20 years. And as we spoke with other municipalities, we're very low. We're not in line with other municipalities and what their fine structures are. And the fine increases that are being proposed in this ordinance are not significant, but they are meant to deter people from committing these violations, and they're meant to enhance our public safety so that people don't get hurt, traffic accidents, things along that line. So it just makes sense that we increase our fine structure to an appropriate level for this time of our history.
Thank you.
Chief, just a quick question. What are the counts annually? Have they increased, decreased? Are they consistent year after year?
Are you talking about
Yeah. Just a number of violations in total.
I don't have that number, but they do, and they have increased. You know, and we continuously enforce these violations.
Okay.
But I can get you that information.
Just kind of curious generally. Okay. Thank you.
Other questions, Councilman Cavanero?
Chief, handicap violations. I don't know this. A handicapped person is given a card of some kind, right? And I
Correct.
identify.
They have to apply to the state of Connecticut.
It's
State
very
of Connecticut.
specific to that person, right?
Correct.
Is there a violation if that person gives that card to somebody else who is not
There-
themselves handicapped?
There would be, yes.
Real, okay, this would apply. Would it be this fee here?
This is specific to vehicles that are
The
parked
vehicle.
in a handicap zone that shouldn't be in there. For example, if you don't have a handicap sticker and you park in a handicap zone, and you can't prove that the operator or the passenger or whoever is assigned to that vehicle is handicapped, a fine would be imposed upon that individual. A ticket would be issued and they would get a ticket for $100.
Okay, but in the other situation where somebody who is handicapped gives their pass to somebody who's not, and that person, however, is discovered, what?
So if you were to give it to a friend of yours, for example,
right.
that would be a violation, yes.
Right, and what would be the consequences?
That would be a state infraction that would be issued. So the state of Connecticut issues fines
that?
for that type of a violation. So the officer would issue an infraction.
Okay.
So it's separate from this ordinance.
Correct, correct.
And just something else, just off, I came back from a vacation in California. I went for a beer at Sawyer's, and there's wheelie marks like crazy all around that particular place. What is that kind of, how is that, what is the infraction or what is the penalty for?
So
doing
that would
I
be,
mean, a lot. This is serious.
so if people are burning, if you're like
Burning rubber,
burning
absolutely.
rubber, it would be.
I don't mean like one, I mean somebody's doing it intentionally and doing it a lot at that particular location, but in others as well.
Well, there's a motor vehicle violation called unnecessary noise because it causes the noise in the neighborhood. So there would be a violation for that where the officer would be able to take appropriate enforcement action related to that kind of a violation. It would also be a potential reckless driving, and there may be a slew of other motor vehicle violations, but we would have to have witness to that and to see exactly what the situation was.
Thank you, that's all.
Councilman Oliver, yes.
Chief, can you expand upon what other in class 3 parking in a manner that violates other provisions of this code? It says line 19, other is $100. I was just curious, unless I'm not reading or finding the language in here, can you just give me an idea or give us an idea what would qualify as other?
Generally speaking, so that would be something, if I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to
Leaving the
speculate.
fit.
I don't want to
I get it.
speculate on that.
Okay.
But what I was going to say is that we have other violations within our ordinance code that is not related to this specific site of the ordinance that we would be able to issue city tickets to. For example, the code, the ordinance committee and the council voted for the marijuana, people smoking marijuana in a public place. That may be what that's for, but I don't want to speculate on it.
Okay.
But I can get you that
If
information.
you could, I'm
Yes,
just curious. Thank you.
I will.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for the chief before I call the motion?
Just a quick one, as we have apartments being reoccupied or just occupied in general downtown, we have a residential and commercial parking passes. Do you have a limit on total number of permits for the area?
Our traffic division generally reviews how many permits would be issued. For example, the Riverside, the parking lot over by what do we call that?
By the library?
By the library, but the river, it's the river, I call it
Riverview.
the old
Yeah.
Riverview, the Riverview parking area. We issue permits to Charlotte Hungerford Hospital, so there's a restricted number of permits that are issued to Charlotte Hungerford based on the amount of parking spaces that are available for the general public. So those are issued specifically based on the number of personnel that they're employing at that location.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's covered under under that section 3, where it's, talking about, specific municipal lots and probably by percentage, and I'm sure that's determined by the traffic division. So if
Okay.
you want to put a number in there.
Yeah, well, I was just curious if we had, 800 parking spaces and we sold
Yeah.
1,500, permits. it just-
There's a
Yeah.
percentage that our traffic division reviews to make sure that, so in other words, we don't want the Riverview lot to be filled with employees. We want it to be available to people who are going to shop downtown, who are going to the library, things along that nature. So there's a certain amount of parking permits that are issued to specifically Charlotte Hungerford Hospital, who has a office in the old bank.
So
Okay.
maybe it might be helpful if you describe the parking authority and who is on that parking authority.
Well, the police department there used to be a parking authority that was separate from the police department, but the traffic division is essentially the parking authority for the city of Torrington. The police department oversees the parking authority. And we budget for that as well every year in our budget.
Thank you.
Last call for questions? We're good? Thank you, chief. All right, roll call vote. Again, I'll start to my left. Councilman Oliver.
Yes.
Councilman Cavanero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ruette.
Yes.
Councilwoman Spino.
Yes.
Councilman Iveyne.
Yes.
And Councilman Waldron.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you. And the final roll call vote is for the change to the ordinance for Arts and Culture Commission. I'll entertain a motion by the board to repeal Chapter 3A Arts and Culture Commission.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman
Second.
Ruette, seconded by Councilwoman Spino. And the floor is open for questions or comments.
This is really just eliminating or dissolving basically the Arts and Culture Commission because we just voted to merge, you know, whatever that mission is from that commission into the Economic Development Commission.
Thank you, Councilwoman. All right, if there are no other questions or comments, this is more or less cleaning up the action that was taken in roll call one. I'm going to call it, starting to my left, Councilman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilman Cavanero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ruette,
Yes.
Councilwoman Spino,
Yes.
Councilman Iveyne,
Yes.
Councilman Waldron.
Yes.
All right, another unanimous vote. All right, it's great work on the ordinance committee, so thank you to those members.
I want to thank actually the police department, our economic development, and certainly our corporate counsel for their guidance in this. And really the intent, what we have been hoping to do is to look at ordinances that really have no impact anymore on business within the community. So I feel like this is a beginning. There might be more that'll come forward that will be cleaned up. We'll keep him busy for a few more months. But thank you.
Is that you saying thank you? I know.
No comment.
No, busy is an understatement. All right, I'm going to move into item number 5. I will entertain a motion to open the meeting to the public.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ruette,
Second.
and second by Councilwoman Spino. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So we are open to the public for any comment or matters that you wish to address with the council. Mr. Royals, you know the role. Yeah.
Get up there.
You know the role.
I know.
Just a quick one. I'm getting a lot of people asking me, we have to make this clear, when they come down, I do the appeals for the tickets. They want to know where to purchase one of these parking permits. And I've just played it, I don't know. I think it's only when you have a building like next to City Hall here, or the people that are in that parking lot. Is there any clear identity to that?
Parking authority.
Yeah, traffic division is the traffic division in the police department. Sergeant Baldus.
Well, that's
or
who I
whoever
deal,
his
that's who,
is. Yes.
that's who, with me.
Yes.
But, okay. Well, that was a question we had.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate that. And I would say that anybody who has an interest in purchasing the permit, you don't have to own a building downtown. You don't have to be a tenant downtown. You could be somebody who has a job downtown and needs that parking permit. It does apply. Yeah.
People can purchase that.
Yes, they can.
Thank-
Yes. Thank you. All right, we're still open to the public. Is there anyone else from the public wishing to address the council at this time?
Do that. Why would we start to do that?
I think,
Why would someone do that?
well, why would somebody do that? I agree with you, but by law, we are required to allow anybody to have access to the
Okay.
meetings. So,
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
yeah.
So we've
And for a lot of years, I mean,
Sorry.
during the pandemic, there were a lot of new rules about participating via remotely. And as those rules were fine tuned, obviously this was one of those issues. So, yeah, unfortunately.
I strongly suggest we move on, not let that
Yeah.
person
Good,
take another.
thank
minute.
you. All right, so moving on to item number 6. Yes. Oh, Mr. Klug. So could you kindly come to the microphone so that we can hear you, and anybody remoting in can hear you as well, please?
I'm Butch Klug from Klug Farm in Torrington. Most people know me.
Yeah.
We're the only operating dairy farm left. The Weigels have a farm. A lot of our land is farm preservation to preserve it. Well, we had a, heifer barn we built back in 2000. I mean, no, it was, 12 years ago. And, it's on farm preservation land. It was USDA helped to pay for it to keep the clean water out of the dirty water. It's 90 by 140 feet. It was assessed at 90,000 to start out with. It was 110,000 to build it. And then we turned around and, our old tax assessor, she says, well, we're bringing it down to 70,000. On the next reassessment, it should be under 50,000 because farm buildings in Torrington, they're, if you're an actual farmer, they're exempt up to 50,000. Well, our lovely reassessment, they tripled it. So I appealed it over the phone. I came down here and I appealed it. The people came up and they looked at it. And one of the mistakes I made, the east end of it has a manure pit that's like 80 by 50 and is 8 foot deep. That's where the manure goes into. And it looked like a barnyard because it was all dry. And I should have said to the chairman, well, why don't you take a walk out in the barnyard? And he would have went 8 feet deep in shit. So the only way of getting in and out of this barn is 2 ways. And it's manure polluted. It has 100 animals in it at all times. They start out as calves, then they go up to 2 years old. When they're 2 years old, then they have calves, and then they start milking at that point. Well, the barn was assessed at 70,000. Now, even though I appealed it, it's 170,000. And it's on farm preservation land. It can only be used for farming. If we went out of business, we could use it for maybe store machinery or hay. And then we have a farm store that was assessed at 8,000. It's not finished. And that's 100,000. And I think that your levels ought to be put higher than 50,000 on farm buildings. I talked to the tax assessor. She says the best thing to do is go down and voice your opinion before the council and see what can be done. I mean, you know, we have 400 acres. We're struggling because milk is only $20 for 100 pounds of milk. And, you know, we just can't pay the taxes. And, you know, if you want to see the corn growing and you want to see the donkeys out there on the side of the road, you know, we don't milk them, but they're ornaments. So anyway, but, you know, what few farmers you got left, better start helping them. So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the
If
Rouette family, I mean, they have land and farm too, which, the state, I think they doubled the assessment on farmland. Now the state of Connecticut wants farmers. Yeah, they want the backyard farmer that has a half an acre, and they go over there to the, you know, to your agriculture part of it. And, you know, they're farmers. They're not farmers. I mean, come on, you know, help what few are left if you want the open land. I just came back from St. Francis Hospital. I had to meet with Dr. Girardi. And, you know, if you want Torrington to look like Hartford, well, you know, you better start doing something here. I mean, it's a mess over there.
Yeah. So if I can interrupt you here, to Mr. Klug's point, obviously a year ago, nobody could have anticipated what the reassessment of our properties were going to be. We do have an ordinance that allows for an exemption for farmland up to $50,000.
To 50,000.
Up to
for a farm
50,000.
Building if you have a Schedule F
Right.
taxes.
Right. So recently, the state of Connecticut did allow for municipalities to increase that exemption. However, we have to do that through ordinance. And I think I know that you're doing so much ordinance work. That legislation was only enacted in June of this year. Too late to help Mr. Klug on his 10-1-24 grand list, but certainly something we can take up by way of ordinance to allow our farmers to, as you said, if they have that F.
Schedule F on your.
Schedule
tax.
F.
In other words, basically, you can't just say you're a farmer. You have
to show that you are farming your land.
in your tax system.
Yeah.
And like our taxes now, they went up $2,700
Yes.
this year. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I can see maybe the houses, but the farmhouse needs paint. I mean, they looked at it and it's, you know, there's trim that's rotted, the my son's house down below, we just don't have the money to put siding on them.
Yeah. So and Mr. Clegg did call me. He and I spoke a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah,
and I
couple
did
weeks
say
ago.
that
I
I
was-
wanted to bring this to
It
the
was very
council.
nice, that the mayor actually talked to me. I don't
That's
know
my
who's
job.
gonna be the next mayor, but
Yeah.
you have, two people that are pretty good choice and,
Yeah.
I mean, I just talked to the fellow today from Connecticut Boot and I says, well, who do we vote for mayor? And he says, well, there's a couple more that I thought maybe they might step up and want to be candidates, but they didn't. So I guess we're.
So before we go off that political side street, let's stay on
Saying, I mean,
course.
I just hope that,
Yeah.
whoever gets in there takes your place, they help out the business people.
Yeah, more importantly, this council can certainly take this up by ordinance and they can do pretty good work of it. I think that you've made an excellent point. Farmland in the state of Connecticut is being sold off to the highest bidder and becoming more urban than rural. So I would like to refer this to the ordinance
Yeah,
committee.
okay, yep.
And when they
Probably
schedule
just-
this, you can
just
come to that
any-
meeting and you can share with them your experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Anytime somebody wants to call or whatever. I talked to Mr. Ivan. He was actually walking his dog with his wife and has this picker that picks up trash and he has a trash bag, and every time he walks the dog, he picks up trash. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty, pretty decent because most people just.
I think we're
no.
wandering off into an area we shouldn't be wandering off. So I'm gonna
I'm
shut
just
this
saying
down,
that, yeah.
if I may. Yeah. So ordinance committee and
okay.
Councilwoman Ruette is the chairman of the ordinance
Yep.
committee. So we'll recommend this and we'll get you all of the updates on that public act that did increase our allowed exemptions.
And we have a meeting
I know she
scheduled.
can't really comment because she's
Is
owns
it-
land, but she can.
Well, with three other sisters,
Yeah.
But we can put it on the ordinance committee that we have scheduled for the 18th, correct? We have it on the 18th? Yes, on August 18th.
Now, does somebody have to come and speak in favor of that, or does it
No, we'll
help?
put it for review. We usually don't have a public
Okay,
portion
I'm
of it.
just asking because, my father was in politics for 30 years down here and, he used to go around to, like, if they started putting streetlights up, he went around and he asked asked the people, do you want them or you don't want them? Don't just push stuff through that somebody doesn't want. So I just wanted to
We
give you
try not to
support.
do that. So
No, I know.
I think it's important that we put it on the agenda for August 18th.
So, Mr. Clegg, just so that we're clear, this will go to the ordinance committee.
Yep.
They'll review the ordinance, they'll review the new state law. They'll make a recommendation back to the council.
Yep.
Then the public hearing happens, and that's the opportunity for the public to have that input.
Just as long as I know when to come and give people support that supports us because.
We're great. Yeah, we appreciate you. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you
Alrighty.
very much.
Yeah, thank you for presenting.
All right. Then I do feel like I need to call one more time. Anybody else from the public wishing to address the board? Mr. Royals again?
What I did not mention is that all farmland doubled.
Yes.
The assessment doubled on it, so that only put one more knife in his back. Because they took part of it, but they went from 250 up to 900 and then cut it back down.
Mhm.
How do you do it?
Okay.
Do we want to keep a farm or we don't want? It's
Thank you.
basically, a real
Okay.
farm. in town.
You know what, though? If you could hold those comments for the public hearing, I think that would be,
Same.
thank you. All right. Last call for the public that haven't spoken already. All right, I'm going to move on. We're going to go on to item 7. I will entertain a motion to appoint Caitlin Hall as a member of the Board of Finance to fill the remainder of a term set to expire. Wait a minute, I got to do approval of minutes.
We do 6?
Minutes,
Six.
yeah. Approved minutes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, everybody. I'm sorry, let me call item number 6. I will entertain a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from July 21st, 2025.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Iveyne.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Waldron. Questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Aye.
Extension.
An abstention for the record is Councilman Cavanero. Item 7, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Caitlin Hall as a member of the Board of Finance to fill the remainder of a term set to expire December 15th, 2025.
Move.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Cavanero. And did I hear Councilman Iveyne?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So motion made and seconded. Are there any questions? And just for the record, the position that is being filled, the vacancy is Jim Wright did submit his resignation from the board. So I do want to express my gratitude to Jim for doing an excellent job on our Board of Finance, and Caitlin Hall for agreeing to step up and finish his term and perhaps step into the next 5-year term. All right, no further questions. I'll call it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, I'll entertain a motion to accept the mayor's appointment of Jacqueline Scoville, Richard Fazio, and Gerard Carbone as regular members of the Board of Ethics to fill the remainder of a term set to expire August 31, 2026. Thank you, Councilman Iveyne, and seconded by Councilman Cavanero. And are there questions?
Who's this Gerald Carbone
Yeah,
here?
can you imagine? And I haven't called the vote yet. I'm assuming it's a vote of confidence. I do appreciate that. This is one of those boards that is really hard to find people to step into it. And these 3 appointments don't fill all our vacancies. I still have one more that I'm working on. So if there are no questions, I'm calling it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9A, I'll entertain a motion to accept the mayor's appointment of alternate Commissioner Janice Colangelo to a voting commissioner for a term set to expire on July 1, 2028. I'm sorry, for the record, these are appointments for the services of elderly.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ruette, seconded by Councilman Iveyne. And are there questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9B, I'll entertain a motion to accept the mayor's appointment of Patricia Silvernail as an alternate commissioner with a term set to expire July 1, 2028.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Councilman Waldron, seconded by Councilman Iveyne. Questions or comments on this motion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, I'll entertain a motion to accept the mayor's appointment of Commissioner Dennis Pezzi with a term set to expire July 1, 2028.
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you, Councilwoman Spino, seconded by Councilman Iveyne. And questions or comments on this appointment? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D, I'll entertain a motion to accept the mayor's reappointment of Commissioner Janet Risa-Devi with a term set to expire July 1, 2028.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Iveyne,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Waldron. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Item 10, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to CGS Section 1-206D to discuss a potential release of an interest in real property held by the city of Torrington in consideration of the conveyance to the city of a similar interest in said property. And in that, of course, we would invite Corporation Counsel. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Iveyne, seconded by Councilwoman Spino. And all in favor?
Aye.
Good. We'll retreat.
Gotta
Thank you.
separate.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, so let's get right back into the open session. It is now 7:36 PM. I do need a motion to come into open session.
So
Moved.
Thank you, Councilman Iveyne. I heard Councilwoman Ruette. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, I will entertain a motion to consider the approval of the release of an interest in real property currently held by the city of Torrington in consideration of conveyance to the city. This is really way too obscure. So the motion I'm looking for is the authority to authorize the mayor to execute documents that will release an interest in a right-of-way in real property. Do we have a map block lot number?
I don't know. Yeah, I think this one.
Is that it? Yep, that's it.
It's, yeah, you just-
So the right-of-way that the city currently has in map 221, block 003, lot 001, in exchange for the conveyance to the city of Torrington of a similar interest right-of-way in the same map block lot number. Do I have?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Councilman Iveyne and second by Councilman
The
Oliver.
motion just rolled off the tongue.
All right. The floor is open for questions.
Yeah.
I just have one question on this. When this was originally approved it conceptually, was there any kind of like tax abatement associated with this? Or we haven't gotten that far and can still fight that at least, since we're powerless and this,
Yeah, not authorized.
not authorize it? Yeah, I mean, blow it up, whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're just
No.
not there yet.
Right. No request for tax abatement has been filed in relation to this property.
Are we on the comments for this motion? Right?
Please, yes. Yep.
Anyone?
Did you? Okay, well, my comment is this is another grotesque example of loss of local control over our city by the state. We have so little say over this that it is an abomination of the whole idea of local control. And I know that our city council and our mayor will take up possible forms of action to highlight the issue for our citizens. And if anybody wants to know what this is all about, I just suggest they take a ride up on the west end of Torrington, top of Highland Avenue, and look at all the beautiful land that's been absolutely destroyed by these horrific-looking solar displays that take what is pristine, beautiful farmland and open spaces and turn them into an industrial-looking modern dump. And the city of Torrington and other cities, not just Torrington, it's not just Torrington, none of us apparently have control over this state siting council. And this is a situation that cannot go unchallenged. So I know we've all discussed this and, you know, pursuant to this vote, I will agree with whatever action the mayor wants to take necessary steps to highlight this for the public and see what we can do with our legislators to fight this.
And if I can add to that, Paul, too, is that our legislators did try this past session, just so it's on record. I know Representative Case and Representative Joe Canino both tried to fight this and get some sort of legislation allowing the municipalities to have more oversight on the siting council. Unfortunately, Governor Ned Lamont said, if this comes across my table, I'll veto it immediately. So unfortunately,
Then we just need to get other cities like Torrington and more legislators.
Yes,
that
we
there
do.
will come a tipping point.
Yep.
Where even the governor realizes that he cannot take this, you know, autocratic approach to siting solar farms in Litchfield County.
I couldn't agree
Right.
more.
I think I'd like to echo your comment, and I think the public needs to know that this council and our mayor have opposed every one of
Yep.
these solar quote farms in the city of Torrington with you know, vehemently, in response to not only the community that surrounds these solar farms, but it is really so frustrating for this council and for the mayor and our legislators, you know, who have tried. But I think we do need another approach. And I think we'll probably have some other conversations, but have a larger public forum where I feel like our community needs to have a voice stronger than just a public hearing
Correct.
and a conversation while we're voting on basically just a swath of land, you know. And even though they are being amenable to what swap they want to do, it's still, we oppose it no matter what.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
and there's
Now-
another one coming.
Yeah, just to clarify, this measure is not for or against the solar farms because that's already a decision that's passed us. And we were opposed to it, all of us. This is just simply moving the right of way to provide us an access. And to Butch Klug's thought, we should do everything we can to preserve our farms. We don't eat if we don't preserve these agricultural lands. We just lost hundreds of acres off of Highland Avenue, Rossi Road area. It's split between Litchfield and Torrington. It's a big loss. So we should help our farmers. We should preserve agricultural land, give them the tax exemptions. But in this case, we're also getting access to a park that will benefit the public. Thank you.
Thank you, council members. I appreciate all of your comments. This is an ongoing debate. When the state takes local control out of these decisions, we are left to try to pick up the scraps and do the best we can to preserve what is available to us. So this land swap, it's not even a land swap, it's a swap of a right-of-way, is a way for us to ensure that our public will still have access to public properties. It'll also serve to further shield the solar farm. I agree with you. It's such a irony that they should call it that. To shield those green spaces from these very unsightly panels. So again, the purpose of this, as Councilman Iveyne has suggested, is not to approve the solar array. This council is on record. There's always been opposition to this, but these measures at least afford us good access to our properties and more of a buffer from those other areas. I, unfortunately, as I'm trying to read this map block lot and clarify what this motion is, I should correct the motion that I needed to affect this. So the motion that I was looking for was authorization to execute documents that will release the city's current right-of-way that exists on map block lot 222-004-026 in exchange for a right-of-way that will be included on map block lot 221-003-001 and 221-004-026. So we're eliminating one straight right-of-way from Lover's Lane to the top of Major Best Parks, Major Best? Charlene Best. In exchange for moving that right-of-way a little further up Lover's Lane and then across the complete boundary line that separates these two parcels owned by Lodestar or Clover Ridge from the city's property. So I hope that clarifies. I need Councilman Iveyne, you made the motion, Councilman Oliver, you seconded.
Yep.
Yes, so approved, amended.
Thank you, as amended.
Exactly.
All right.
Yep.
So motion corrected, and I'm sorry, I'll help you if you. Sure, yeah. So we are releasing the city's right-of-way across lot 221, 222-004-026. And in exchange for a right-of-way that will go across map block lot 221-003-001 and 222-004-26. Yeah. No, here.
02.
I'm gonna, do you mind if is the council okay with me giving the map to the?
Yes.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
You're
gonna tell a property owner what to do with their property? Mm-hmm. That's the whole rub.
It's gotta be developed down the road.
Nothing else. There should be some kind of
What if we have many
numeric
zoning
minimum,
now?
like max,
Nice.
like a
Yeah,
cap.
but we,
Or-
in the city, we have zoning, what do you call it, zone for residential, zone for.
Who wants to
We
go
should be able to have our zoning to say that.
Nobody wants to go.
If this were
But that's a
fact,
commercial
you can't just take a
operation.
fact.
That's
It's a
so-
bit-
How is that falling under farming?
Without a doubt.
All right,
Oh.
before I call this motion,
That's why they're bad.
I just want to make sure that everybody understands what we're exchanging. An existing right-of-way for a new right-of-way. We're good? All right, I'm going to call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Attorney Magistrelli. All right, let's move into item 13.
Very happy one.
So moved.
Thank you.
This is one we want, right?
Yeah, this is. So, so the motion that was made is to authorize the mayor to sign and file documents for the city of Torrington to participate in the Purdue opioid litigation settlement. Motion made by Councilman Oliver and seconded by Councilwoman Spino. The floor is open for questions.
How many of these do we expect?
This is the last one that's pending, as everybody who's been following these opioid class action suits. Purdue entered into an agreement and then filed for bankruptcy. And this settlement is a way to settle all of those outstanding agreements within their parameters of bankruptcy. I cannot tell you how much the city of Torrington will be getting under this particular action because this is all contingent on how many municipalities agree to sign in on the settlement agreement. That'll dictate how much the state gets and ergo how much each of the municipalities gets. So
Okay.
it's just authorizing me to file those papers that say, yes, let's participate. Then I'll report back to the council when we know what those numbers are.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions or comments? All right, then I'll call this motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, we'll take it in two parts. 14A, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the Public Works Director and Recreation Director.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Iveyne.
Second.
And seconded by Councilwoman Spino. All right. It is a long motion, but essentially I'll paraphrase. It is for hydro raking program and pond maintenance at Bessie Pond. Any questions? Because I see Ray is here and he could probably answer those.
Now, is there sediment buildup there? Is that coming off the street necessarily? What is the?
So the pond is fed by a couple of brooks that are, come down along the Board of Ed high school property underground and feeds into the pond. If you could see, like on page 3 of your packet, you can see where the pond has been silted in over the years from 1990 to the last etching of the area 2016, where this parts of the pond have been silted in over the years. The next page actually shows the pond profile aerial in 1991. So you can see how much, and then the next two are a couple. So you could see along Major Bessie Drive, you can see that drainage inlet to the pond and the area that we've lost in the pond surface area over the years. So what this project has done is we're trying to ensure that we don't lose any more of the pond and try and as best we can without a major dredging project to recapture as much of the original pond volume and surface areas that we can.
Hey, have we done this before, Ray?
We've hydro raked for the past 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So this is to approve another 5-year contract to do the hydro raking. So the hydro raking is a process. It's not actually a dredging. So it's removing the organic matter from the pond to regain depth to the pond areas. It's not like dredging out to the silted areas that are silted in already. That would require Army Corps approval. We did in the past
request Army Corps approval to do a full-scale dredging. And at that point in time, the cost was prohibitive. I believe it was around $700,000. And then the Army Corps wouldn't approve dredging to recapture that area that was lost. So what we're trying to do is to prevent any future loss.
Okay. Was there a concern there? What was the Army Corps' concern with preventing us from doing that? They just thought that's a natural development, or?
Yeah, I wasn't involved in that project at the time. I'd have to go back and kind of review the correspondence between, the city and the Army Corps. I do know that the dredging was an option that they were not going to approve.
Okay. Is there any sensitivity to wildlife?
Now that area has become wildlife habitat, for one thing, because as you can see, you go by the pond, now there are actually trees and vegetation that has grown in that area of the pond that we've lost. But what we're trying to do is to reestablish the aquatic life in the pond that is left, and to stabilize it and prevent any future loss of the pond.
Okay. Thank you.
Will this have any impact on the new school?
No,
None? Okay.
No. other
Other
than
questions?
be more aesthetically pleasing from the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, okay.
All right, if there are no further questions, I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B, again, staying with the topic of Elise Best Park, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the Public Works Director, Recreation Director to approve purchase and installation of one Casco 5 HP aeration fountain from Solitude Lake Management of Shrewsbury, Mass. The contractor of record for Bessie Pond Revitalization Project, this will be in the amount of $15,737, and funding will come from the Parks Capital Reserve account.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ruette, seconded by Councilwoman Spino. And are there questions? Hearing none. I'll call it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
Thank you.
carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Item 15, I will entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 143-274, City of Torrington Comprehensive Safety Action Plan.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Oliver and Councilman Iveyne. And are there questions or comments on this? Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to act on behalf of the city to award, execute, administer a contract purchase one trackless 60 by 32 angle broom from CN Woods Enviro LLC of North Haven in the amount of $10,730. The purchase will be funded with the Street Capital Projects Fund as further explained in the purchasing agent's letter dated July 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Iveyne, seconded by Councilwoman Spino. Questions or comments on this item? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 17, I'll entertain a motion to extend the current bid contract for snow plowing services for Sullivan Senior Center Facility FY 25-26.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Iveyne.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Spino. And are there questions on this motion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 18, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to act on behalf of the city to award, execute, and administer contract of all construction change orders for the milling and paving of various road projects to Asphalt Repair Solutions of Southington, Connecticut. This is going to be funded from the City of Torrington Public Works Road and Drainage Fund, as further explained with the pricing details in memo of Deputy Public Works Director, City Engineers memo, dated July 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Spino.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Iveyne. Questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 19, I'll entertain a motion to approve the extension of bid number PDU 023082322 with Fairfield Uniform Company of Bridgeport for the purchase of police department uniforms for fiscal year 25-26 in an amount not to exceed $55,000. Funding is available in the police department's uniform allowance line item and FY 25-26 police budget. This motion is, of course, pending Board of Public Safety's approval.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Councilwoman Ruette, and seconded by Councilwoman Spino. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 20, I'll entertain a motion to, by the council acting herein as Water Pollution Control Authority, to approve the following payments from Fund 490. This will be invoice number 1970 to Yield Industries in the amount of $30,800 for THS sanitary invert work.
Moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman
Second.
Spino, seconded by Councilman Iveyne. And are there questions?
Can we just explain the inverter?
So the profile of a manhole, obviously a cylinder in the ground, right? So at the bottom of it is the invert. So at the base of it, then there's the piece or the section that is kind of carved out, looks like a pipe. That's the invert.
How many?
So
do
that
we-
entire base had to be replaced.
Okay. How many of these do we have throughout town? And is there an age that survival rate?
I mean, it varies. It depends. Brick inverts, we have precast concrete inverts. We have probably 3,500 manholes in the city. That would only be sanitary, and probably another 4,000 storm manholes as well. And they all
Okay.
have inverts.
Okay, at $30,000 a pop.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the rehabbing manholes is, is a costly endeavor. I mean, this was part of this was a protection mechanism, because with the construction of the new high school and the new athletic fields they were turf fields, we have a 15-inch trunk line sewer that runs under those new fields. And although we didn't anticipate having to do the invert, the building committee paid for the lining of that 15-inch sewer main. And then upon further inspection, the invert had to be replaced, and the invert is not under the manhole's not under the fields. So the WPCA is paying for the invert repair so that there's a steady or a consistent flow stream. So that you don't create any issues with the flow of the sewage. But the building project did pay for the lining of the 15-inch main.
Okay, thank you.
Are there other questions? You're all set? I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ray. Item 21, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the tax collector authorize tax refunds.
So
indicate-
moved.
Thank you, Councilman
Second.
Spino. I heard Councilman Oliver first. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 22, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the tax collector and
So moved.
authorize. Thank you, Councilwoman Spino.
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ruette. And are there questions on this recommendation? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 23, I'll entertain a motion to consider business by department heads.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Spino, and I heard Councilman Iveyne. Questions or all in favor? Any opposed? So we have a lot of department heads in the room tonight. Anything more from Public Works, Ray? Thank you. Anything from Street Division, Mr. Cody? Thank you. Anything from engineering? And from the city clerk's office? Nothing? Oh, Chief Baldwin, anything from police department?
Be meeting at 5:30 at that Fudge Company on bottom of Main Street. From there, we'll split up into teams that want the various neighborhoods.
Thank you, Chief. And Corporation Council exited the room, so we're going to move into item 24. I'll entertain a motion to consider business by mayor and members.
So moved.
Thank you. I heard Councilman Oliver and Councilwoman Spino. Questions, or all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So we'll start at the end with Councilman Oliver. Anything this
Nothing
evening?
tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Cavanero?
I would just like to thank the ordinance committee for taking up all of that heavy-duty lifting while I was away, so that would be my only comment. Thank you.
Councilwoman Ruette?
And I want to thank the council for their patience in taking on the ordinances that were supported today, but we have more to come.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Spino?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Iveyne?
Question on, do we have an update on Yankee Peddler? There was a pending court
Yes.
and
Yes. So we did have a hearing 2 weeks ago. And the hearing was on the request for authority to sell the property to a developer that was selected through an RFP process. The evening before that hearing occurred, the defendant in the action, Jason Hospitalities, filed a petition to have the receiver removed and the request for authority to sell denied. So we went into that hearing defending our position as to why the receivership should not be terminated and why the property should be authorized to be sold. That hearing took place over a little over 3 hours. The judge had another hearing that was about to begin, so she has continued the hearing to August 6th. So we will be back in a hearing with Judge Lynch and Jason Hospitalities and our witnesses and theirs. So, yeah,
Never stops.
it's never ending, yeah. So, and it's always the same defense over and over again. So we feel confident that, you know, that their track record for trying to present this rationale is, you know, just the same story over and over again, which never comes to fruition, particularly whether or not they have financing to complete development. So, yeah, it is an ongoing.
okay, but a favorable decision.
Hopefully, so the, that hearing was continued to August 6th. And because the judge is anticipating, it's actually 2 decisions. The first one on the petition to have the receivership terminated. Once that hearing is closed out, then the hearing to authorize the sale would continue pending the decision on the receivership termination. So August 6th, we are continued. It's going to be a half day. And then August 12th will be the wrap-up of that hearing. I feel like we're back on trial in this case, which essentially is how that went 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
So-
think, you know, just as a member of the TDC, we did talk to the TDC at the last meeting about them presenting to the council, you know, or update and all of the bid process that they went through in selecting a contractor, should one be a developer, I should say, should all of this get through the courts. So Val Farrow has been a consultant for TDC, and I think she's amazing. And I think it would be good to have her come. But we were waiting until this last court date that was held. So it's like a waiting game, but at some point, you know, they will come before the council to present. So
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
they've
The-
they've
yeah.
been working really hard.
Honestly, it is every week, every Monday at noon, we have a standing appointment to discuss not only the litigation, but, you know, where we are moving with grant applications, both an assessment grant and a conditionally approved remediation grant. All of that hinges on this court decision. It's, you know, we are moving ahead at warp speed. And then we end up waiting for, you know, the rest of the team to catch up with us. I will also, I do wish, and I wish Corporation Counsel was still here to hear this. So just as a reminder, this lawsuit was brought by the city of Torrington. The city council 4 years ago said, yes, let's go after this property. So the city of Torrington is the plaintiff in this action. And I will say Corporation Council has done a phenomenal job of particularly fighting the request to remove the receivership. Torrington Development Corporation, TDC, is also represented by Kevin Nelligan, who is doing an equally phenomenal job in representing all of the work that the TDC has done in moving forward with environmental assessment work, in grant applications, and in control of the asset. So this really is a solid team effort, and these two attorneys have done such a great job for the city and the Torrington Development Corporation. Once these two hearings have taken place, we will report back. I'm hopeful that it's all goes in our favor. And to Councilwoman Ruette's point, that's when you really want to start hearing from TDC and the chosen developer.
Mary, just quick, what is the legacy owner of this property?
So the legacy,
But what is they're hanging on to it,
Yeah.
clearly. I mean, they're paying taxes on, what is their,
No,
they're not paying anything, no.
they're tax delinquent.
Okay, that's why, okay. I was gonna say, what is their plan for it? Do they have?
To do exactly this.
to
That
just
was,
do
they
nothing
threatened to
and-
do it years ago, and this is exactly what they've done.
You know, when they took this property, you know, for, you know, a meager sum of $650,000 out of a bankruptcy proceeding, their intent was to renovate it, redevelop it,
Remember
and
multiple-
continue, exactly, yeah, to continue to use it as a hotel, gutted it, couldn't find the financing to finish the development, let it lay,
Yeah.
waste, you know, pipes are bursting, floods are happening, bursting through the plate glass windows, spilling onto
Bricks are
Main
falling on the
Street, bricks
street.
are falling on the street. Yeah, so, you know, all of those were the reasons this council, you being a part of that, said,
Yeah.
yeah, let's go after this property owner.
Good.
Yeah. So always their defense is we're minutes away from getting the financing. You know, we have a term sheet. We're, you know, just waiting for the commitment letter. And then the commitment letter to the banker and on the council never comes through.
Yeah.
The terms, not even worth the paper it's written on.
Yeah, I'm just
Neither
curious,
am I.
what do they present to the court as their plan for, I mean, clearly, are they saying they're gonna turn it into a hotel? What are they
Yes.
just saying?
They are. They're saying that they need $6 million to complete the restoration of the hotels, hotel rooms and lobby, and that it will be run by their operating branch, which is Janssen Hospitalities, as a hotel. But that $6 million that they need to make this happen is elusive
Yeah,
at best.
yeah, I don't wanna
yeah.
belabor the point, but I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah, it is an exercise in
cannot-
frustration.
Yes.
survive. as a
Well,
hotel type.
we'll remain hopeful.
Yeah,
on
please,
these,
I'm hoping by the next council meeting, we will have the judge's determination on both those hearings. And if favorable, introduce you to that developer of choice. Good.
Thank you.
Forward to that
You're
day.
welcome. I know, me too. Yeah, Drake, Councilman Waldron.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Okay. All right, well, let's move on to item 25. I will need a motion to open the meeting back to the public for agenda items only, kindly. Thank you, Councilman Waldron, second by Councilwoman Spino. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Open to the public on the agenda items only.
One thing really bothers me, just in listening to this, how much money have we wasted on this so far? And are we gonna ever reclaim any of that in what comes back? You know, and I thought the taxes supposedly were paid on that up until last year, no?
Are we
No.
talking about the Yankee Peddler Inn?
Talking about the Yankee Peddler.
Is it all right if I know this is the end of an evening and we're not
It's
engaging?
public information. I haven't looked to see, but
No.
to me,
So do you want me to answer those?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So all the legal fees relative, and actions taken to secure this property are actually being paid out of blight fines. So we don't have a line item in the budget for the
Right.
taxpayers' portion.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those expenses are covered by blight fines that we've collected on
Right.
other properties. We do continue to accrue blight fines on this property.
Yep.
And all of the expenses will be recovered when the property is sold to a developer, or if the court were to determine that the property would be returned to the owner. That owner can only take title when he repays all the expenses we put out.
That answered the question.
So there's zero, and that was always my, my, I won't say promise to the council, but when we made this decision, I assured the council there was no risk here because we will recover whatever we put into this property.
I mean, we're using mainly our own corporation counsel.
Mainly Corporation Counsel
But we do
and
have
Kevin Nelligan.
I heard, yeah.
Kevin Nelligan did represent the city up until the trial when the Torrington Development Corporation was appointed. And then after that, we separated. We said, all right, continue to represent TDC, Corporation Counsel will continue to represent the city. Because we do have opposing, well, not opposing, we do have interests that are different from each other.
Mhm.
And again, every single dime we put out from our blight funds will be recovered when this property is sold.
That answers that question.
Mhm.
The second thing, when you put up like you did with the piece of property tonight that we're swapping back and forth, wouldn't it be easier for the people out in the public to know what piece of property you're talking about? Because we don't have the maps in front of us or map this or map that. I mean, yeah, at the end of the information I found, you find out it's a piece up on Lover's Lane. But that's something I've noticed more times that really should be put in there, what it actually is, even if it's just street address. That's just something I think. And the last thing for me, this track says trackless angle broom. Why didn't that go in front of the vehicle replacement?
I was looking at you.
Hmm?
We're not supposed to engage in conversation back and forth, but
I'm sorry.
I wondered the same thing.
Okay. Anyways, that's just a question. The other thing I have, you're probably not gonna like this. I hear too much approved vendors getting jobs. What's going on with our bidding process? I just see a lot of things that aren't bid. There's one of them, of course, the broom. I didn't talk to Penny to see how many things came in or anything else. But I think we're bypassing a lot of the bid process on not only on things we're buying, but jobs we're doing. All we hear at the end here is this particular company or this one did this, and they're approved vendors or accepted contractors or whatever you want to call them. And if you remember right, and you'll remember this, I maybe shouldn't talk like this back and forth, but we've argued that point when they came into us, and it was prior people in the street department that came in, we have to have this today. And our answer to them was, no, we're going to go out to bid on this. You have to know what you're looking for, and we can't just give something because it's somebody we bought something from before. There's always somebody out there that's willing to go and bid different, usually. I'm only saying from what I've seen. And that just, to me, is just something I'd like just to bring up. I'm not beating it any further than that. But I think we have to get back on to a full-out bidding procedure on anything we do in this town to let the people know what they're getting. That's only mine.
Thank you. And I know that we don't do this exchange, but I do want to clarify for
Okay.
anybody that's on this call.
Yep.
So this is an attachment to an existing piece of equipment that was approved by the vehicle
Yep. Okay.
replacement committee. So here's Penny.
But why didn't we get it then?
So I don't,
Okay, we don't know.
I don't want to go into a lot of that detail, but Penny is here and Tim Cody is here. If you want to just
Yeah.
catch their ear a bit and they can explain to you how
Yeah,
this happened.
Not here.
It's an
I
attachment.
mean, afterward, you're talking.
When we
Yes.
talk about an existing vendor, this is an
No,
attachment.
I don't care which vendor. It's just I hear it too much times that it's an accepted contractor or an approved vendor that got this job or that job or this job. And to me,
Yeah.
there's not bids on every one of these. There's not fair bidding.
There is.
Okay.
There is
I'm
bidding.
wrong then.
Yeah. By charter, anything over $10,000, we are required to put out to bid.
Mhm.
If there is a state bid that we can piggyback off of,
Right.
that is a qualified
No question.
bid.
We've done
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
we still had bids though to go along with the state bid.
Correct. State
Because
contract.
we, you know,
which
it's
is-
always somebody who will underbid just to get something. So, thank you. That's all I
Thank you,
want.
Glenn.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah.
Just for the record, we used to, in these kind of agenda items, we used to put that language in there.
I know.
And we should get back to doing that
Yeah.
to Mr. Royal's point, so that the public knows that there was,
You
we
get
followed the
questions
rules.
afterward.
Yeah.
You know, I get questions and I'm nothing in the city. And I get people, oh, you guys, and Ann gets the same questions. Oh, you guys just throw money away on those vehicles. You know, I mean, the newest one is the fire truck. Where's this fire truck? Where is this? Well, guess what? You're not the only person doing it, but, you know, and that we had all the paperwork. This was the bid. You know what I mean? And we had to have that type of thing.
I appreciate
you.
that. Thank you. All right. Mr. Clegg, agenda item only, please. That
Okay,
means if
it's
it's on
part of
the
the agenda item when you're moving a right of way.
Okay.
Did anybody look to see where this new right of way is going to be?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it roughed in? Now, are you requiring them where the old right of way is, it's all flat to get up in there? The new right of way, there's boulders in there as big as your tables. And you should have the contractor rough in, even if it's a gravel road, because about last fall, I think it was, there was a fire down in back of Westledge. And fire department spent hours down there trying to get to it. Where if you had this road at least roughed in, and it's a long ways across there, because I know we used to pasture that.
Yeah,
And
we did.
in the backside, it's all wetlands, but at least rough it in so that you could get your all-terrain vehicles or whatever in there to fight the fire. And it could have been a lot worse than what it was, but they did get it out, but they had to walk in I think they went in from Westledge. And they wanted to know whether they could go across the corn lot down below. I said, I don't care, but you're gonna fix the ruts after you get done, because it was really wet. And so that's my comment. And the other thing was on solar, I used to farm all of Rossi's property. There was 80 acres we lost. And then I don't know how the city approved, there's one detention pond that was put in. It's right alongside the road. And the street department's already had to go up there and swale out the ditch because the overflow for the detention pond runs right into the street. And Tim's got the problem of having to maintain, there's gonna be an ice problem there because the water runs right out on the edge of Rossi Road. And, I think even though you don't have any control, but I think maybe somebody should have had some control over the runoffs. They planted a whole bunch of spruce trees up there last week, and they're lucky it rained because they would have all died.
Yeah.
And but, as far as this solar stuff, I mean, it's probably gonna be all right, but make sure you get your right of way in.
We will. Thank
Is-
you. We appreciate that advice.
Is there anything in there to rough out a road?
So this is public comment. We'll take your comments, and you could call Corporation Counsel and we can discuss this offline.
I know
The purpose of this is,
Ivan was down there looking at it, but him and there was a couple more. They do have interest, and yeah, you were there too, the two of you.
Yeah.
You don't have hats on, I don't recognize you.
Yeah.
We were incognito, yeah.
But I think you were down farther. I don't think you went up to where the bank is about 6 feet higher than the road, and that's all gotta get cut out because it's gonna cost somebody a lot of money. They'll probably never put a road in there anyway because it's a long ways across there. And I think that the way I remember that, it doesn't even butt into the city's property. You're gonna bump into Westledge. The city's property is way down in back of Westledge towards the north. So if you put a road in there, I don't think that's even going to go because Bada Terry's old land, that jogs down from Zapor, it jogs down, then goes across, and then there's houses from Westledge in there. And city's property is way lower than that. So I don't know how they're gonna get over there. You better look at the maps and have your city engineer look at it,
All right.
okay?
Thank you, Mr. Clegg.
Thank you.
All right. There being no further business before the board, I'll entertain a
moved.
motion to thank you, Councilman Oliver, second by Councilwoman Spino. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
I know.